What's up, guys? Welcome to the Squat Plug, episode Infinity, volume. Who fucking knows? I'm joined with Mateo and Ylli, and we're going to discuss tapering and peaking today.
Yeah.
So I think a good segue into that would be talking about peak strength barbell and how it got its name, since there's some relationship there. So
I'll take it over. So how I decided to call peak strength barbell what I called it. Came out. There was a couple of things that happened all at the same time. At the time, basically, I was like thinking about like opening up the gym and that kind of stuff. And I was talking to Max at the time. I don't know if you guys remember like RP Max. He was talking about like different names for it, and it kept like coming around like the whole peak thing, like for like the process of peaking. Why I came out to the process of peaking is because one of the things I used to implement in people's training, particularly Max's, is that basically, you know, like you basically like taper and you deload through a person's like peak. Those last 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks for some people. With that, I actually made it a large portion of the vast majority of his training. And why I actually did that with him is because basically I realized very quickly that he responded very well to, I want to say, high intensity lifts, and didn't respond so well to volume. Legit, like I put volume in his direction, all of a sudden his numbers would like fall apart, the seams, tendonitis, that kind of stuff, aches and pains.
So you would peak him basically like
pretty much the entire time, perpetually. Legit, like every block was basically him, I guess, going in, heavy singles, maybe like 1 or 2 back down sets, if that. You know, like there's a whole lot of like variations of nature, basically. It's centered around that kind of stuff. So you look at basically a person's, I guess, late stage peak block, and that's what I had for him. And the reason why we had to do this, why we instituted this way, why he didn't respond very well to volume training, that kind of stuff, is because unbeknownst to many people, he was actually dealing with 2 hernias at the same time. An inguinal hernia and an abdominal hernia, which he had actually got, I'm going to say maybe back in, 2020, right before the first showdown meet. He told me he was like bench pressing, and he went for bench press up to 585, almost had it. Some weird shit happened. I don't know whether something, I guess, didn't spot him properly, or whether he slipped or something. But boom, boom, it finishes, and he basically caught his hernia for the first time.
How do you get an abdominal hernia? Like, what is
the strain? Just the strain,
Jesus.
basically. You're pushing so hard and whatnot that basically your intestines have nowhere else to go but through your mesentery. Damn. And all of a sudden it's sticking out of over here someplace.
Yum.
And for him it's also out here. So he did abdominal and he had inguinal. So like in both locations.
Glad I'm not that strong.
And then he went to the showdown, the first one, and he actually won it in his weight class with that taking place. So we started working officially together in January of 2021. Officially. I mean, like in the past, we kind of worked in an unofficial capacity together. Like he bounced ideas off me, and I kind of like provided advice and that kind of stuff. I don't want to say I was the only one to offer him advice at that time. I'm pretty sure he reached out to other people, but we had we did a lot of speaking together. And then we basically found out during the course of training from January up until the showdown meet that was the strategy that worked best for him. So I want to say either in March or April that year, we had the first meet that we had together as a coach athlete and whatnot. And he went out there and he had over 2,000 pound total. He fucking destroyed it, like another all-time PR, that kind of stuff. A little bit of a rough meet, you know. We're still learning things and whatnot, and different things taking place out behind the scenes. And then we kind of mastered things. Come around, I guess, like building up to the showdown meet itself, we really started pushing that strategy. We found out that that's actually where we did best. Lo and behold, most of our back down sets were pared down. A whole lot of the accessories were also pared down as well for him. You know, untested lifters, frankly, you don't need to have as many accessories or as many back downs to grow. You know, and the whole point for Max wasn't developing more muscle tissue. The guy was like a fucking living wall. He was like fucking, he was huge.
Yeah,
you know?
the trend will do the work.
You know? Trend harder. So that kind of stuff, and we realized very quickly that if we did too much volume, the hernias would rear the ugly heads again. And so we made some changes, that kind of stuff. Late into the cycle, though, the hernia reared its ugly head again, despite our best efforts and despite the reduced volume and that stuff. Just came out the intensity. And also, when you have a hernia, you don't get it medically treated or operated on and whatnot, you know, it's likely to rear its ugly head again, despite your best efforts in training, that kind of stuff. You know, so he decided to still push through, and he went to the showdown. He totaled 21-14, if I'm not mistaken. Took second place, and owing to a missed second and third attempt on squats. I think the second attempt that he missed on squats was I think he was also robbed. He was robbed of it to a large extent. I'm not a fan of one of the judges who was there.
Let's not say names right now.
And the third one was he missed. But that basically, I want to say, kind of ended his chance of taking first place there. Had that happened though, I honestly say that he would have beaten Jamal that meet. You know, and he had by like it was like 70-80 pound difference. His second squat attempt and what he would have pulled as his third deadlift attempt would have cemented that for him. So that basically is like how I came about with the name Peak Strength Barbell. Legitimately just focusing and emphasizing the whole peak, aspect of training. You know, like basically going through deload, tapering, whatnot, and not doing too much volume, that kind of stuff. And I used to be a big fan of that, big proponent of it.
You were.
It works for untested lifters, and it works for many tested lifters until it stops working for them. So what takes place pretty much is you really show up to strength very, very quickly, and it can last for a while. But now all of a sudden aches and pains show up and whatnot, or people's like strength plateaus. You find basically different issues with your ugly heads, and so you end up with a very tall structure, but with a very narrow base. You know, there's not much room to grow after that. So the base may expand and whatnot, but it doesn't expand as much as if it actually does something to shore up the bottom. Did some research and basically changed my stance. Decided that hypertrophy is indeed important. You know, muscle size and whatnot, you know, is very proportional to a person's actual strength. So we started doing that, base widened up, and I found a whole lot more successful over the past year and a half to 2 years, in fact, in people's training as a result of it. You know, again, the results speak for themselves.
You know, all I can say is that 5x5s work, bro. 5x5s reprogramming, bro. Shit's worked really well.
5x5, those 5x8s.
Yeah, adds 5 pounds every week. You know, this is a brand new strategy, by the way. No one else has thought of this before.
Yeah.
No, we don't do 5x5s.
Novel idea.
We do a lot of 4x5s though.
4x5s work. Yeah, for you they do.
Yeah.
You do. Some people 3x4s and so on.
So
and so
what kind of like tapering and peaking strategy do you use? Like do you have like a general idea of how you want to do that with most people, and then kind of individualize it as you go?
It changes. It's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. For some people, I push volume. You know, I'll basically, you know, have them doing like, you know, like more sets and that kind of stuff, like whatchamacallit, they'd be like 4x6s all of a sudden, and that's how I generate fatigue for them. That's how I generate, I guess, like, you know, like the fatigue before I guess super compensation sets in, aka just a deload, and like allow a person, I guess, to recover properly. Or
you get to recover and perform well.
Or for some people, it's intensity.
Compensation.
The other thing also is basically seeing what people respond best to. For some people, I noticed that if they have like a heavy deadlift day, you know, or like something similar in RP to, I guess, like to their main day, their main day does better as a result of it. You know, Samantha, for example, like 4 or 5 days out before her meet, she'll have a lift, and she may even miss the lift, and come meet day, it's guaranteed a PR. She's guaranteed to hit a PR.
So what are you programming? Like RP11?
No, like
Just go in and miss.
RP fail.
Just work up until you miss.
I'll put down like RP 8 to 9, whatever, you know, in that range. And like with that later stage in her training, she is likely to fail or to hit it and basically be fatigued, but it takes about 96 hours for muscle to recover. That single lift in itself isn't jacking up fatigue to the roof. And what I've seen her training over and over and over again is when we have RP mirrored one day and the other whatnot, that second day responds very well to it. I don't know what the central nervous system conditioning, what the case happens to be, but it works for her. It works for a few other people. And it worked for Carmen at the meet that we were at in Indiana. And recently, while looking at the VBT and the data that it's been providing, we found that it may actually be a little bit different. And so what we're kind of doing basically is giving her a longer break in between. Instead of being 4 or 5 days out, this next meet is going to be 7 days out. You know, what I've been seeing is when she has longer breaks between her deadlift sessions, particularly heavy deadlift sessions, her estimate when her max is, they don't just increase, they boom. So this is what we're going to be doing for this next meet. You know, it's a little bit different also since it's going to be a USAPL meet, not a USPA meet. Stiff bar versus deadlift bar, so there may be some differences there and whatnot, but I'm predicting it should work out in her favor. So each person has different strategies. For Mateo, I keep it like an RP 7 to 8. I want to say his deadlift day. It's not too far off from meet day. I found he responds well to it as well. You know,
so how far out or how close up until the meet do you keep like a single at RP 7-8 in there?
Well, it depends which lift we're talking about. It depends which lifter.
Well, let's say like for Mateo, we'll use Mateo as an example. When's the last heavy lift that he takes?
For which lift?
All of them.
For bench press, it may be a couple days before.
What are we talking? When you say heavy, what do you mean heavy? Like
I mean like a single at 7-8.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially
for bench,
9.
Yeah. For bench, like the week, like a few days.
You could still do singles the week up.
Intensity frequency for bench press, particularly.
What about squat and deadlift?
For me, it's like as long as it's like not RP, like 8 to 9 bench. If I don't, like I have to make sure I have.
You have to make sure you kind of don't cross that.
Yes,
as a certain
because once I do, I'm like my shit goes like straight to the toilet, bro. Like it gets bad really quick. Like let's say like I have a single on bench, like one day, and then have a bench session again like 2 days after, right? Mm-hmm. If I go like close to or like maxing out, I know that my next bench session is gonna be trash.
Yeah,
I
get really fatigued.
That's fair.
Yeah. But anyways,
so what about squat and deadlift though?
It depends on the lifter. Like we're looking
for Mateo.
For Mateo, his heavy squat is going to be maybe a week and a half before that.
Okay.
And then the week of is going to be like RP 5 or 6. That's what we
Yeah.
usually have for him. I find his hip fatigue, there's a whole lot to affect his deadlift. I mean, roughly so. He also pulls sumo. Versus
Maybe not anymore.
Maybe not anymore.
We'll see about that.
He's playing very well to conventional. Estimated run maxes are booming right now. But we'll
For
see.
conventional?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we'll
Yeah. That VBT is coming in clutch, bro.
see. So what I do, so you'll see basically certain lifters, right? For example, Mateo, he responds well to also having, I guess I want to say, the load, quote unquote, fresh in his hands and fresh in his back when it comes down to, I guess, to deadlifts. Pause.
Resume.
And bench press, but for squats, not so much. For other lifters, for example, I may not even have may not even have singles. I guess like in their peak block. I did it with Karma last time, and she had a fucking PR.
Yep.
Fatigued and everything after making
It's
a
wild,
significant cut.
you know, when stuff
but
like
the
that
specificity
happens.
is it's a range. You
No,
know,
100%.
You don't have to be singles. Does it work out and whatnot? Is it beneficial? Yes. But are doubles also beneficial? Are triples also beneficial? Yes.
Of course.
There's a lot of carryover from
Well,
one to the other.
what's really interesting about the singles versus say the doubles or the triples is the velocity loss,
Yeah.
right? Because I've been getting into like the velocity loss literature, and I find it super interesting.
Still getting my mind around it. I'm still basically trying to learn and whatnot. I'm not going to say I'm an expert or a master in it.
No, it's
by any stretch.
by all, yeah, no. But basically, so I took the VBT course, Landon Hickmott's VBT course through Reactive Training Systems, and basically what I learned through, because it basically everything I learned through that course was like a culmination of everything I had been reading already, just packaged very neatly and presented to me all, you know what I mean? But basically he was talking about the difference between like, strength adaptations and like neuromuscular adaptations, or that neuromuscular adaptations, say like rate of force development, things like that, are all a part of the strength adaptation, right? So what the research kind of shows is that since singles don't have any velocity loss, right, within one set, they're not as impactful for neuromuscular adaptation, which I found really interesting. And it shows that you really need some sort of minimum velocity loss threshold of at least like 5%. So, which would inherently mean you need to do like at least a double or a triple to get some sort of velocity loss, right? And the research seems to show that the range of 20-25% is most influential for the neuromuscular adaptation. And obviously there's that relationship with neuromuscular fatigue and yada yada. So to induce the neuromuscular adaptation, there needs to be some velocity loss present. So what I found is doing a lot more like doubles, high intensity though. I'm not talking like, light doubles. We're talking like 8 or above, right? Because if you're going to do only 2 reps and you're going to need to see like a significant difference between the first rep and the last rep to have that 20-25% velocity loss. So it has to be heavy. I mean, obviously this is all.
If you even see it there.
It's hard. It's actually hard to hit.
Sometimes even like if it's like a heavy double, right? My velocity loss is not that high.
It's not that high
because the first rep is already slow. So you cannot lose that much.
No, 100%. So that's really interesting too. But that's why Landon Hickmott's research shows 20-25%. But a new meta-analysis just came out that looked at all of the research, and they gave you a range of like 5 to 25%, right? Because it's obviously a lot harder, and it's really interesting because it's murky with the 1RMs, and like there's this correlation, but it's not as correlated with strength as it is. I'm talking about like 1RMs. As the velocity loss stuff is for hypertrophy, but I think that's just because the 1RMs have 0 velocity loss. So like it's just a murky relationship.
I can also imagine the way the tests are being done. You're not really taking, I guess, you're not really doing 1RM tests on many of these subjects. And I think what they're measuring more than likely is hypertrophy itself, because it's easier to measure. For example, look at like that muscle gain.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of studies on it, and they're measuring 1RMs. The ones on strength obviously are measuring 1RMs, and the ones on hypertrophy are measuring.
Sure. What are the actual the ways that they're measuring 1RM? Are they measuring 1RM on like a back squats?
Unfortunately, it's a Smith machine. Either Smith machine squat or Smith machine bench press. And the reason they do this is to eliminate the skill factor, because like if you're going to take beginner, and a lot of times they take beginners because they're all going to respond similarly to training, or some sort of training intervention where, like, if they took someone like as well trained as you guys, it's going to skew the data. So it removes the skill factor. It allows you to move this bar in one straight line. So, like, yes, it kind of sucks that it's a Smith machine, but you know, it's the best that we got.
No, not here. Honestly, myself, I've seen like serious dividends off of using it in training. Like, you know, not for myself, but for my athletes. Like Mateo put it on and whatnot.
Yep.
Carmen, Samantha, Leandro, everybody who's on and whatnot has made like, you know, significant inroads into lifts. You know, while dealing with like adverse stuff taking place outside of the gym as well. You know, and I want to say if particularly the people who benefit the most out of it are people who have issues with dialing in the RP.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it'll tell you right there. That number will be there and you can't debate it. You know?
And you know what? I do debate it sometimes. That's my thing. Because look at because there's times that I know that I can push harder. I don't know how to explain it. It's just
Well, that means you were probably sandbagging to begin with.
no. It feels like, let's say I have a single, right, and it's supposed to be RP. Let's say a bench single, RP 7, which I know is supposed to be 0.20, right?
Probably for you, yeah.
Yeah. So then I have a set of, say, 5 at RP 7 again. I know that my set of 5, the last rep will be like 0.15. No, it will be less. It will be slower.
Then that's a higher RPE.
No, but I know I have 3 more reps in me. Like I know I can gauge my RP pretty good, to be honest.
So the thing about that is, what's really interesting is the last repetition velocity is what's best correlated to the RPE.
Yeah, but
Remember seeing the paper you sent me?
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is like that my RP 7 rep work is slower than my RP 7 single. Potentially.
I really think to know for sure you'd have to just max out. Like, you'd have to like do the reps to failure test. So what's interesting about the this whole like last repetition velocity model and how they build it is through 3 testing protocols. You have to do a 1RM, you have to do a 3RM, and you have to do a 75% reps to failure test. And basically, when they actually studied this, they found that the last repetition velocity across the 1RM, the 3RM, and the 75% reps to failure test was the same.
Okay.
Right. So the last repetition, and they took it to failure. So this was the example they used was a bench press that moved at 0.10 meters per second. So when they did the 1RM, it was 0.10 meters per second. When they did the 3RM, the last rep was 0.10 meters. And when they did the reps to failure test, the last rep that they got before they couldn't do another one was 1.0. And that's not to say that there can't be a little bit of a range, but until you actually do those testing protocols, you're never really going to know.
No, but I'm just like also wondering about the testing protocols and how they work on an individual basis, because again,
it has to be done. That's why it has to be done per the individual, because they're going to see different velocity loss over the reps to failure test, over the 3RM, and the 1RM could potentially move a little slower.
So I don't know if you remember the paper where they based the study where they tested a whole bunch of people and looked to see what their 1 rep max was and how many reps they could bang out at a certain, I guess, like a percentage of the 1 rep max. I think it was like 90%. And everybody like do like 5s, 6s, and 7s and 2s and all that kind of stuff. And this one individual out there did 26 reps. You know, like versus the other people. You know, so just it has me wondering when I hear things like that and whatnot as to whether something like that is also taking place, which maybe, you know, something that perhaps could be lost in translation, despite even doing these
100%.
matches and that kind of stuff.
100%.
Again, it's tough. I mean, nothing's gonna be perfect. I understand.
Oh, it's definitely not
You know, I'm
perfect.
splitting hairs, but even bringing it up, to be honest. You know, but what I tie things into and whatnot, more than anything else, looks at basically certain trends. So if the estimate 1 rep max, which is going to be incorrect, by the way, you know, like because like first off, his thing's totally out of whack. He'll actually be lifting more than the estimate 1 rep max for the day.
Yes.
Did you do the?
I haven't done it. That's
We
the
haven't
thing.
done it yet. Like he's had meet after meet and so on and so forth.
fair enough.
Like heavy blocks. We just haven't had
I mean,
any
you should.
chance.
But when you have a single at,
You know what I should do? I should just ask him to put it on my meat.
all you have to do, you just have to do a single at 90%.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Don't look it up. It's okay. We'll find
No,
out.
I'll show you.
Okay, show me. But anyway, so
It's such a pain in the ass to do. But anyway, so
it is a pain.
So the thing is basically, like, even off that, we don't even need that. We're working off essentially looking at the estimated 1 rep maxes and their fluctuation as they grow. And you can see it. And it's not just like the number there. You see the speed velocity, you know, you see the velocity of that lift, that weight, versus last week one, and it correlates. You're like, holy shit, this person's making fucking progress over here. And you can see the things which are affecting, which are driving it forth.
You just do 4 singles. It's the last one at 90%, and it gives you your own 1RM.
Anyways.
Yes. So,
You're like, yeah, I'm not doing it.
so we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna make that happen. But at the same time, you can still gauge off that. You can work off it, and you see the up and the down.
Oh,
back and
100%.
forth. And again, the velocity does not lie to you.
No.
You can gauge something as RP7 and actually be like 9, whatever the case you want to with that. But you see the velocity there, and you know exactly where you're actually at.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't lie to you, and it tells you basically, just you have that much more of a confidence, I guess, like when it comes down to the results you see there, predictions that you can make. And I find myself on occasion being incorrect about some things. So I'd say it's important that, I guess, like I want to say a very objective way of measuring somebody's progress and RP and whatnot, and just like all that kind of stuff. I think honestly, if you're like a very competitive lifter and you're like on a national scale, I don't see why a person wouldn't use it.
I think it's
honestly,
great.
there's no argument against it. I think that holds any water.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that I've never done it before, therefore it must be bad, which I used to also say. Legit, that was my mindset.
Really?
That was my whole argument, like my point against it. Why I bought these. In fact, I bought one for Mateo and for Carmen, legitimately just to experiment and to see what would take place. I was actually very skeptic. I didn't think anything was going to happen. I was like, let's see what the fuck happens, whatnot. And lo and behold, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Being able to objectify the RP is huge.
It is huge.
Because there's, I know that my RP8 squat for a single, say, moves at around 0.30 meters per second, right? There's days I go in and I'm just warming up and the weights are just moving slow, and I know that, what I want to be on the bar is probably not going to end up on the bar at that 0.30 meters per second.
Numbers go out the window. Do you find that also nocebo you though?
Yes, sometimes.
In what way?
Like I'll do my warm ups, right? And I'll see usually on my squats, let's say I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. I usually put it on the 4th plate just because I don't want to psych myself out. But by the time I get on the 4-plate squat, I do the four reds, that's when I know what I should take next. But before that, I don't even put it on the bar because I know if I put it on 3 reds and I see it's slow, I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, I don't feel good today.
Anecdotal though it may be, 2 nights ago when I had my SPD session and I hit 640 and I hit my triple there, when I hit 4 plates, it moved slower than my first rep of 640.
Bro,
yeah,
you always complain about it.
You've seen it in person though.
So
my top sets.
So interestingly, anything sub, I think 80% is pretty much useless when it comes to predicting E1RMs. So I put it on, when I'm squatting, I put it on at 2 reds. But
It's not your 80%, bro. Unless you squat
No, I put it on at 2 reds. And I pay attention because you know what I pay attention to? The wattage, the power output.
Yeah.
Because I know if my power output's lower on average.
We look at it for him too. For Mateo, we measure power outage and also peak velocity.
No,
Yeah.
power,
for bench press.
but the thing with power outage is it correlates to the velocity. So no matter whatever velocity you have, that's the same. You're gonna have the same power outage, no matter what the weight is.
What do you mean?
I think
Actually it's the same number. Let's say you hit a single with
What I'm saying is, right, there's some days when I'm warming up where I'll hit my warm-up sets and the power, velocity's low, power's low.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying,
which indicates that I'm probably a little fatigued.
yeah, I get it. But what I'm trying to say is you don't even have to look at the power outage because it's literally the same. It's really directly correlated to the velocity. So what happens if 0.20 meters per second, 0.20 meters per second is basically let's say 700 watts, right? No matter what kind of weight
it's going to be different for everybody.
No, it's not. I know, but I'm saying no matter what weight you do, it's gonna be no matter how many reps you do, 0.20 is gonna be the same watt output, no matter how much weight is on the board. It's weird.
Really?
Yes.
What do you mean? I'm not
Because I think
really
there might be-
following what you're saying.
I don't know how to explain it. Did you understand it better? Did you
Okay, so anything that says 0.200 meters
Yes,
per second, no matter
whatever
what
says-
the weight is, no matter
yeah.
what the reps is, it gives a certain power
the same power outage?
outage.
Doesn't change.
So basically, power outage is directly correlated
Yes,
to the meters
that's
per
what I
second. I didn't catch that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've
Interesting.
been seeing that. So basically,
Well,
even if
power
you
is forced. It's the force times the velocity. That's literally what it is. That's how power is defined.
Yeah, but
Force times
the
velocity.
thing is that no matter how much weight there's on the bar, it still shows the same power, the same watt.
But if you-
so you're saying, in other words, if it's 700 pounds at 0.20 meters per second, it shows X power.
Yeah.
If it's 400 pounds at 0.20 meters per second, it shows X power.
it shows the same power.
Really?
I think so.
We'll take a look at it. Anyway,
We'll look at it anyways.
so let's not make this
Let's not shit on
DBT
Mitchell again.
So my
That
next question that to segue into basically is we talk about peak strength, why I call myself peak strength and that kind of stuff. Why do you call collaborative strength?
It has nothing to do with peaking and tapering.
Never mind.
Cut! No, collaborative. Honestly, because Sophia and I collaborated together. That was part of it, right? To create the business. And then the second part of it was like, I think that the coach-athlete relationship is a collaborative process.
One of the ideas I was thinking of for naming peak was actually collaborative strength, and I was like, oh shit,
Get the
this
fuck outta
motherfucker's
here.
called, I swear to God.
My man!
I'm not kidding you.
You didn't even know each other back then, right?
Shit, yeah.
No, he did. He hated
knew
me.
him.
Oh,
He loved me and then he hated me.
I loved him, but he was so close to coming to the light. And ever so often, as certified personal truths and making these little memes, all of a sudden, resistance bands, and commentator resistance show up, and I would just go,
This fucking dude.
you're so close. But
Ylli actually unfollowed me
I
at
did
one
unfollow
point.
you.
He actually
Absolutely.
unfollowed me.
I was
And
like,
I fucking, and I DM'd him and was like, bro, did you unfollow me?
I said, yes. I actually.
I did that to
was.
Carlos Moran too. I'm not kidding
Bro,
you.
you want to catch those hands, bro?
Bro, I've caught plenty of hands by guys his size. I don't give a fuck.
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard it. I don't understand what
Yeah, but no, legit, that was it. It was like one of those memes because
You look like a soy boy. I don't
I
understand.
loved his account, and then I love it actively, current present tense, but I loved his account, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh Lord,
I went
why,
through
bro?
this
But I know why,
phase
I know
where
why.
I was really trying to justify
there's a puppet
what I
master
was
behind the
doing.
scenes
Yeah,
doing this. I know.
and I was really trying to like hold my buy-in because like I was losing that shit,
I know,
and I was
I know.
doubling down
It
just
sucks.
to justify what I was
Yep.
doing. Because I was in the
think
gym
we've
every
all been
day
guilty of
having
that.
conversations with people in the gym, and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, I don't even know anymore, man. I really don't know. I can't fucking do this shit no
Were
more.
you using
That's
the
a rough
same?
spot to be in.
Were you using the same principles to the way you were coaching your clients?
Kind of, but not really. Like I didn't go full out like
West Side.
West Side Conjugate. It was more so like I used like I really liked. I tried to use like the
Never
3
go
week.
full conjugate.
Like they always like the big thing in Conjugate is like this 3 week wave, right? Where you do like your max effort, and then you have this like little down week, and then you do this other max effort. So I kept trying to use this like perfect wave thing, and then there was like, yeah, it'd match up sometimes, and then other times it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I was like, this is fucking, I can't keep like assuming or that like I can make these perfect programs over the course of 4 weeks, and then it's gonna, it's gonna run out exactly how I want it to. Just never happened.
When I
Or
really,
rarely happened.
When I really fell out of love with, I can talk about conjugate strength because, it has its own issues, but with actual accommodated resistance was when I actually saw it happening. So I used to coach at this one gym, right? I'm not going to name any names, but I'm coaching there, and then there's one individual who's coaching his lifters, like we call them all the chain gang. And so he'd all have coach the same way. It'd be like combat resistance. It'd be like the bamboo bar with all kinds of dumb shit, So I'm like watching, whatever. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I see his lifters basically suffering over and over and over again. They hit plateaus and walls, get injured. He'd fix them, whatever. So this kid shows up to meet, and I'm there at the meet. Like I'm competing myself, and I happen to see him compete. So when he benches, he gets ready. Now it's raw. Now there's no more bands, no more chains, none of that kind of stuff. And he lifts, and then he comes into this little sticking point. I was like, what the hell just happened? And he does one of these, as though there's bands on the bar. I shit you not. Bro, like it looked like he slapped into the resistance in the bands and then went outwards. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I watched his squat, fucking missteps as well. Similar reasons, all that kind of shit. Like one of them actually was one of the coaches of that band, the posse of the chain gang. Goes out there and proceeds to bomb out, and only mentions in his post his bench press and his deadlifts. And I was like, oh my god, bro, what phony. So that's also not the worst thing I've ever seen them do well with. He actually had a whole film crew come in, film the head chain ganger, had him film a 405-pound bench press attempt, like a raw attempt, like legit, like full down up, comes down and fails. I'm like, okay, I guess it's gonna be cut from the.
What happened to the bands,
montage.
man?
So he releases the montage to his channel.
Come on.
And it comes down, fade to black.
I guess we'll never know.
Guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
That's
fucked around too
hilarious.
So that's pretty much it for me. And I saw it didn't work. I tried myself, like with my deadlifts, with my squats, and with my bench press. I was wondering why it didn't progress.
I haven't
those
used
reasons.
fucking bands in I don't even remember the last time.
I think there may be a time and place and whatnot.
Still, I mean, no,
But-
I kept them in because I had that arm lag from the nerve injury. That the meet I did it last January. I did a lot of like two board with chains and because I would be good off the chest and then I would hit this and my right arm would just go and my left would do shit. So I was like, well, how can I expose it to more of that top end at high intensities? And I tried a bunch of fucking chains and boards and all that stuff, and I ended up hitting a bench PR. Now, can I look back and be like, oh, it's because of the boards? And I don't really think that any of us have the ability to do that. Retrospectively, find one of the interventions that we used over the course of fucking 8 months and be like, it was definitely this one over the course of 6 weeks that we did. You know what I mean? I can't really, I don't have confidence attributing the one thing that caused this other thing, but
the single reservation is where it needs to
but I didn't do any of that stuff in my last meet prep, and I didn't even match my best PR because this lag just got worse. So, I don't know. I mean, is it warranted? Is it sometimes? Maybe in very highly specific situations. I think for me, because my fucking arm lagged. But I've been doing a lot more just high intensity doubles and triples because once I can hit, I can expose my left arm to those higher intensities and where it does almost challenge it with some lag. It's been getting a lot better. So I think this year's the year of the bench press.
I hope so.
I fucking hope so too.
Let's see it.
bench.
Finally.
3 plates.
Yeah.
I want to see you hit three red plates.
Somebody
Three red plates.
That'd
be fucking nice.
I used to bench 4 or 5 in high school, but then my left shoulder stopped working, but my triceps stopped working. That's you, bro.
That's me, bro. I know.
When did you start lifting?
I
powerlifting.
didn't start powerlifting until 2018.
That's why you don't bench 3 plates.
That's why I don't. Yeah. No, I didn't start bench pressing until I was 30 years old. So
Oh wow.
that probably didn't help at all.
You got the grandpa gains.
And
Like him.
But you know what's fucking wild is I literally.
I've been benching since I was 14 years old.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
When I
Intermittently.
So this is wild to me, right? So I have metal rods in both my legs. I had 2 surgeries on this femur because I fucking shattered it. But I had a fucking rod hammered into my femur on this side. And I didn't start squatting. So in 2018, my day 1 with my coach, I got stapled. I literally missed 2 145-pound squat. And then, within a year, with my metal fucking legs, I somehow squatted 475.
That's because you have metal legs. You have something to think about that?
Obviously.
Did the chiro fix you? I thought it was a chiro over there. You posted it in the story. That was not the chiro
Bro.
that fixed you? God damn it, bro. You lied to me?
False marketing.
No, but right,
False
so
advertising.
somehow I managed to squat 475 and pull almost 600 pounds. But here I am, I never had a surgery on my shoulders or anything, and I can't fucking bench 300 pounds. I don't fucking understand why.
No, that's how it is sometimes. I mean, I've torn my shoulders. I don't know how many occasions. Legit, I could barely raise my arm. Firefighting, football, all this kind of dumb stuff. And here I am fucking approaching 500-pound bench press. Knock on wood, hopefully it happens. And I don't know. I don't know. So
Don't jinx it.
we're a lot more resilient than we believe. I think it comes down to basically just finding what works for you more than anything else. But it's not accommodative resistance. It's
No.
not fucking, whatever, conjugate. It's not, I want to say one particular method or the other, just basically what works for you.
I think it's just finding the right dosage of the fucking
that's what it comes down to,
thing,
ultimately.
the actual thing you want to improve upon, which is your comp lift.
Yeah.
Just do that with the right weight on the bar.
That's what it comes down
and
to.
for enough volume.
And maybe I want to say also, to an extent, for some people, it could also be accessories. Personally, again, it's an anecdote. I don't want to go on to uncharted domains over here. Make statements, blanket statements, which really don't apply to everybody. But what I've experienced myself, and for some of my lifters who I've worked with, when I upped the dosage of some of the accessories that they do and started really pushing them and whatnot. For example, the seated chest press, bro, phenomenal. When I have good days on that, when I'm at 5 plates there, the gym each side, I'll go full depth, I'll have a good angle. All of a sudden, I'll be hitting 452, 462 on bench press. It's a good indication for me as to what to expect.
Mike T talks about that a lot, right? It's finding some sort of accessory exercise that when you run that same exercise within a block, you end up seeing a better result on the comp lift.
Larson press is another thing for me, by the way.
Yeah.
But also, you think I think that the people that will benefit more beginners, right? Like from accessories, like
Well,
benefit more.
So Jordan Feigenbaum, I really liked what he said. Basically, it's like what was it? Was it an hourglass? I forget.
Yeah.
But basically, he was saying like when you first start, you want to build a really wide base, and then you want to fucking narrow until like you get highly specific with your comp lifting. And then he's like, at some point, you're probably gonna need to branch out again and like expand upon that base. You know what I mean? Because like you're gonna need to build like this, you know, GPP, all this other shit, muscle mass, yada yada. And then you're gonna have to get highly specific with your training for a while to really get good at the squat, bench, deadlift. And then he's like, you're probably gonna hit a wall at some point where you're gonna have to probably branch out and start doing other shit again.
I think so. I mean, that applies to many lifters. I wouldn't say it applies to all of them. This guy over here, for example, his growth has just been linear for the most part. It just grows and grows and grows.
I think he's talking like over the course of a
except my
career.
deadlifts.
Like he's talking
Maybe.
like 10 years.
But those also have like issues like with pain and so on and so forth showing up, like his back pain,
Also,
hip pains, hamstring pains,
So I can
which could also like give credence, I guess, like to what you were talking about over here. There might be it manifesting itself in a different way, as opposed to a plateau. It's an injury.
Also, I think it's like also the fact that I moved up like 2 weight classes, so like now my leverages are different, especially for sumo.
True, but let's
like,
look
I
at
had a
dots.
really true. It's been like 30 points in like a year and a half, so that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So like, should I ask you a question? Did you see that guy? Like he was saying that it's a lot easier to train like elite athletes. It was like on should I say the names?
No, it's not even.
Okay, that's not even again. It was like some one person's story. Like he posted an anonymous story, and somebody commented, "Oh, by the way, you're coaching like elite athletes a lot easier than coaching like normal lifters."
Absolutely. I think that's an irrelevant statement.
Yeah.
That claim is absolutely just it's just on making the studies, but like I don't know, like I guess like analysis falls apart at the seams.
Yeah.
You know how many elite lifters you have out there who are who are divas. Like give into drama and all that kind of stuff, want to do their own thing. You know?
True, it's like really hard to
And
like,
I
control.
want to say, if anything, the bias leans in that direction to have people who really are hard to coach. What I've experienced myself, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
One of my best lifters, I'm not going to name names, whatnot, was the hardest person I guess to be a coach. Legit, I felt like, you know what I felt like? I felt like Ash Ketchum, in Pokemon with his Charizard, rebelling. That's what it was like. You're like, all right, so we're going to do this thing. Okay, I guess we're not. Meet day is 2 weeks out from now, and we just missed 16 sessions. Awesome.
Meet days in 2 weeks, but you take a week out. We would take a week off before the meet. It would not.
Yeah, no, it won't be. It won't, just a bit of a taper. That's all it is. So I've experienced that. I've seen it. So for somebody to say it's easier to train elite athletes, oh my God, it's just absolutely boneheaded. I want to say empty. I have no idea. I said by the way. Honestly, I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But it's such a boneheaded statement. How do you make that statement? You know what that tells you? That's basically, I want to say, like this person trying to build up their own their own mystique.
Yeah.
Look at who I am. I'm the elite athlete coach. They all gravitate around me.
That was not a coach's head. It was somebody that went on a.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Coach, athlete, I don't want to know. But anybody to make that statement though, I don't know. I think it's
It's kind
boneheaded.
of fucking douchey.
It's douchey. It's like there's no truth to it whatsoever, man. I mean, like because a person's elite, also they can be easier to work with.
It doesn't. Honestly, I would kind of almost think the opposite.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Not harder as a person, but like the more trained you are, the harder it is to fucking hit PRs anyway. Yeah. So like,
I know.
I would
Think
feel
about
like
the
it's probably
discontent.
a little more difficult. Like you're gonna have to analyze things a little more. Pay more attention.
How do you work past those plateaus? Now the onus is on you as a coach. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, why isn't this person getting stronger? Because guess what? They've reached, like how he gets 1% stronger and whatnot.
They're way closer to their
quote unquote genetic potential,
Yeah,
whatever that is,
Yeah, whatever that means.
But so that happens.
But like just that ceiling, right? Like you're gonna hit a ceiling at some point.
So progress stops being as linear, starts becoming a lot more exponential. It's like what is that? The parable, like the horse and the tear, whatever, like the horse and the tear.
The horse and the tear.
Like we're running half the distance and so on and so forth. That kind of thing. That starts taking place again.
Slow and steady wins the race, baby.
Yeah. So what you call it, that also applies to powerlifting. And being a coach who works with somebody of that capacity, what's taking place there? It's not basically, it's a given that the gains are going to slow down. So why these coach-athlete relationships existed? Because at that point in time, become mutualistic in a different aspect from what I've seen. And which aspect is that? Is it actually that they're getting that much stronger while working with that coach? No. Which aspect is it beneficial to them? Clout. That's what it comes down to. So now you're fixed to a certain brand. You know, you grow your brand, their brand, and they grow yours. And that's a give and take there. That's what takes place there. It's not because that coach is making them that much stronger. Now, at that point in time, I think, frankly, you could respond to any program. To be perfectly honest.
I mean,
You know,
I know.
you're driven.
I already know who you're thinking of.
No, I'm not thinking.
I'm thinking of some. Well, I'm thinking of some
Honestly,
motherfuckers.
that's why.
And I know, and I think it's these.
That's exactly what I was
So I'll be thinking like right now, like to be frank, I'm thinking about maybe I would say virtually every cloud coach that's out there. Like one of the top
Yeah.
coaches.
Well,
Is that a term? Is that a?
It is now. Cloud coaches
we're coining that
that have
term
these
right now.
good lifters that were already strong when they came to them.
Yes.
They didn't develop these lifters. You know who I'm talking about.
Anyway, let's not talk about them. Let's talk
We don't-
about
yeah, we
let's talk
did-
about the royal them. That's what-
Yeah, the collective
Yes,
them.
the collective
We haven't
them.
even talked about fucking tapering and peaking.
So again, so
So tapering and peaking. Anyways,
Anyway, let's get back to the topic itself. So there are different ways to do it for people. And I think other things also do with, I guess, their histories. If somebody basically, when exposed to high intensity RPEs and certain lifts, particularly for deadlifts, I've noticed, if you have them trained with a higher RPE, closer to meet day, it comes to bite you in the ass. Versus deloading and whatnot, going a little bit more intense, so the percentage reduced in overall volume and percent reduced in overall intensity, they respond well to that on meet day because now they can actually do something and the chance for them to get injured still exists. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, it's like 100% or whatnot, but you know, for whatever, an injury itself is it's a very
I mean, the higher you,
multifaceted, nuanced thing.
the high intensity is
I
more
guess.
correlated with
Yeah,
injury
it
than
is.
lower intensity.
Yeah, no, of course, it goes without saying. But repeated dosage of that would be something which would more likely instigate something like that from what I've seen. If somebody has that history.
Oh, for sure.
So you keep that person away from there, have the one bout, and then like
Well, it's
hope and
like,
pray nothing
are you
takes place.
familiar with the time emerging strategies, the time to peak?
I remember reading it, I want to say like maybe 2 years ago. It's been a good long while.
So, I mean, it's a pretty simple concept. It's just you monitor how many exposures to like a heavy single an athlete can do over the course of a block before they start to see a performance decrement. So, like, if you can do, and it's what's really interesting is you could see like a drop for 1 week, but if it still increases more than the previous week, then that still encompasses the
person's
time
got
to
more
peak.
resilience, I think, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's like some people look at it like, okay, if you do boom, right? If you were like looking at a graph and it was like it goes up 1 week, goes up 1 week, drops a little bit 1 week, but then it goes up again more so than like the previous weeks, you're still within. So let's say
It's based on the model use requirement.
so yeah, so it's like all right. So
let's.
let's say you could take like 6 exposures before you see a huge drop.
That's me.
So then your
pretty much him.
so then your time to
100%.
peak is
T.
yeah. So then your time to peak is technically 6 exposures. So what you would want to set up the
So 6
you'd want to
exposures
set up the peaking block so that the 6 exposure would be on meet day.
Yeah. It makes that's pretty much what we do with him. In fact, I'll have like build up to a triple. I want to say his programming is more or less like I want to say a block periodization kind of thing. You know, do triples, doubles, singles, that kind of stuff. But I'll terminate it like prematurely. Instead of reaching like RP9, RP10, on occasion I'll reach like RP7, RP8, and then we go to doubles.
Bring it
You know, and the singles and whatnot. Because I'll see the hallmarks.
I mean, that's pretty much what I do. I don't usually hit the 9-10 territory.
For some people, they do respond well to it. He respond on
I can do it
occasion.
with bench a little more. I really can't handle it with squat because I always feel like the
For
squat
him,
and
the
deadlift.
squats. We'll put a shit in the trash right
Remember
now.
when I squatted 600?
Yes.
Right afterwards.
Shut him
I
down.
couldn't squat nothing,
Yep.
bro.
Well, yeah.
It shut him down. That one exposure to RP10.
Yeah. And
That's all it took.
It's wild.
deadlifts too. Remember when I pulled that
Yeah,
650?
that one time, not anymore. Your deadlift resilience, I want to say, is actually like significantly
so.
increased. As weird as
That was one of my
sounds,
biggest.
yeah,
That was one of my biggest gripes with doing fucking conjugate, right? Because when I would do the max
repeatedly
effort,
over and over again, you shut down
it was
moves.
like,
Yes.
yeah, because like it was like you couldn't just do a single at 8. The single like had to be a fucking 9.5, you know, and it was like so I was maxing out every other week, and it was on these weird variations, and then like so, and it was always a Monday max out for squat, and then my training would just tank for the week, and then I would get like a low week, so it would be like a deload, and then it was just
Interesting.
imagine how many deloads I did over the course.
Over and over
half
and over
the
and
year
over.
I did it almost
Yeah, no, pretty much what it
basically
comes
did a
down to.
deload
Once every
for
3
half
weeks.
the fucking year.
How do you make gains?
No, so it would be like you do the max effort 1 week. The second would be like a lull week. The third week you're supposed to beat the week 1 max effort, and then it would be a deload. and then you just repeat that fucking 4-week cycle.
So 2 out of 4 weeks
forever.
So even the second one.
Yeah,
was
so
basically
so 2 of the 4 weeks were basically deloads. The 4th week was the main deloads. It would be like a joke.
Still
Yeah.
taper,
So it was just this constant. Yeah, and then it would be.
And there's no chance-
135 bench.
and there's
My
no chance to make
135 bench,
adaptations.
yeah.
The whole name progressive, the whole game of progressive overload is legitimately progressively overloading. You get used to certain things, and all of a sudden you see those tells telling you.
And
that,
then you adapt, and then you're like, oh, I could do more.
Or perhaps-
and then
or
you
perhaps you
fucking
can't do more, and
Or
then you
perhaps
go-
you can't
yeah.
do more, and you just keep doing the same fucking one.
I mean,
Like one of the strategies from the course was. What I really like about the application part of the course is it's just like he gives you like fucking a million strategies for different for like volume, for singles, and one of them is
take this course.
so one of them is it's just you do a single at the same weight every week, and you don't fucking stop, and you can't increase until it drops. So you do a single at 8, and you can't increase the weight until it drops to a 6, not to a 7. But to a 6. And it may fluctuate up and down a little bit each week, but the idea is like it's not gonna lie to you, right? Out of whether you're adapting or not. Like you go in every week, you do the same weight, and it's like it either stops working or it doesn't. You know.
Something I do is I'll actually lock RP for people, and I want to see basically if with the locked RP,
It doesn't
if
work
the
for
numbers
everyone,
increase.
but
there's different strategies.
I like it for people who can handle the monotony and just go in. It's like, okay, you're gonna squat a single at fucking 450 pounds for the next 6 weeks.
I would quit part.
And but some people are cool with doing that.
That would crush me. Honestly, the same thing.
Bro, it's so annoying. Like
James on occasion. Well, for one of these in my week.
But like the
prescribe
idea is that like at some
hate that
point
thing.
the 450 single at 8 turns into a single at 6, and then you can add 10 kilos, and then you kind of repeat the process.
Yeah, no, and I get it.
And I like it
How
because
many
it's
weeks
so
will that
simplistic, and it depends on
might
the
take, like,
person.
months, bro.
It might.
And I'm not gonna. Sit there
But
and
that
like,
doesn't work.
the same weight for months.
Lord.
I would.
Honestly, though, if it takes months, it's a failure of the program. It shows the program hasn't worked.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're not adding, I want to say even 5 kilos. If you're not making progress, you haven't made progress.
That's fair.
You know, so if anything, it's a litmus test to tell you things aren't working out, and perhaps you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe people don't respond to it. Some people like also the powerlifting isn't just like a muscle-based thing.
No.
It's also very psychological. So if you like in front of that same lift, all of a sudden like it becomes special
Oh
to
my
you.
God.
And next time you see it on the other day, you go, oh man, this is that weight again. This is my RP7.
I mean, I've been doing a squat single for like the last 9 weeks, and I've been lifting. The load changes every week.
Yeah.
I just don't really give a shit. I got robbed of my fucking PR.
No, but think about it.
But like I'm getting up to like where I'm getting 225 for like a single at 8, which is I've never done that for a single at 8. Yeah. 496
Bench
pounds.
press again? Come on, bro. Just talk about squats.
But like I had never got like I hit 496 pounds at 0.27 meters per second, and like I while I'm not necessarily going for new 1 rep maxes, like I'm hitting all time like PR technically for an RP8. It's like. Maybe 6 months ago, my average RP8 was like 440, 450.
Mark would be fucking laughing at you right now.
I know.
You call that a PR if it's
call
not
that a
an actual
PR?
single PR on the platform on a rainy day? It doesn't count. Yeah, I remember that.
I know, man.
I know.
That was such a fucking hard out.
So,
But I don't know.
was
I've
too.
just
I still am to an
softened.
extent.
I've just softened my
Excellent.
stance on a lot of stuff, like because I just
the more you know, the more you realize, the less you know.
yeah, really. So
know,
like,
honestly.
and now, I get to the point where like I feel almost clueless sometimes, and I feel like I have to do things so simplistically so that I'm not like fooling myself into thinking like all these things that I'm doing is leading to the progress that I want. It's like my program's so fucking bare bones right now because I'm like, what even works? Like, what is actually going to drive the result that I want? And I want to figure that out. Like so badly, you know what I mean? Like
I've had moments like that myself. I find that the more time I spend ruminating about like what's driving success, the less successful I am. My whole thing basically is, and I respond well to any program. To be honest, Shaco, I made shit ton of progress. Fucking 5x5, shit ton of progress. James programming with, I'm making shit ton of progress. My coach practice, I was making shit ton of progress as well. But I think the most important, again, this is my anecdotal belief.
Of course.
Is that when a person is driven and they're driven, it doesn't matter what you're given, you're gonna fucking succeed, bro.
I hear you.
Be like, oh, I gotta make this shit happen, God damn. Like, why is you so angry? Like, I'm just driven.
Why are you so angry?
driven.
He hit 440 for the 8th week in a row. That's why he's so angry. No, but
It's still not a 6.
I have a question about that, right? So like you said, like it's psychological too. Like, don't you think that if somebody like does this way for like weeks and weeks and weeks, once he goes up to like the 10 kilo increase,
I mean, technically, I'm not gonna.
I'll be so scared to hit it. Imagine
Really?
Yeah, because you made it special. Now you made it weird.
Yeah, imagine
That
like
way,
hitting,
oh
like,
my God,
440,
10 kg. Your setup changes. You get in there instead of you taking 3 breaths and whatnot. It's 1.5 breaths or maybe 5 breaths.
Oh my God, I feel so heavy. I haven't touched this way before.
Is this how you guys think when you lift?
No,
No, but if you
definitely not. But I've seen it. I've seen this.
I mean,
think about hitting the same weight for months, right? The same weight. Out of nowhere, you're just going to the gym one day and you just like load up 10 kilos more. And you're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be the same. No, it's not going to be the same because I'm not used to this, to like changing my weight. I'm used to like using the same weight every single week.
Basically PAP. Basically PAP.
yeah.
Basically,
I
not
mean,
really,
for,
but like, you know, like
for
a,
me,
like a
so
fresh
like
PAP.
2 weeks ago, before I got sick, was the last time I squatted.
You're welcome, by the
496
way.
pounds, huh?
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. 225 kilos. Kilograms.
I got him sick. He caught my son sick.
So I squatted
I gave him like
so I squatted that 2 weeks in a row, right? And the week prior to me squatting 496 for the first one was like I think I maybe 463, like 210 or something. So like I just happened to see an increase that 1 week, and I put 225 on the bar. I didn't have any side spots. I didn't ask nobody for shit. I just fucking put the weight on the bar and I squatted it with listening to 80s pop music in the fucking gym.
Your music over there is like interesting.
Bro, like, I love that we do it, dude. I love 80s Friday, bro. That shit is a fucking vibe. I don't know. I feel like if you need your fucking headphones and fucking side spotters and to do a single at 8, like I don't know, you're a fucking pussy if I'm being perfectly honest.
Okay, bro. Yeah,
So we got canceled the second time of this episode.
I'm sorry, like if you can't, like just get under the bar and squat a fucking single 8. I don't care if it's 10 more kilos than last week.
I think a single 8, anything squat bench is up. If you need a single 8 and you're not injured, you don't have anything like that happening, whatnot, and you need a spot, you probably need to reassess your
maybe
priorities.
for squats you might be
for single at 8?
You never know what might happen. Maybe like calm
Oh
down.
wow, you feel a single 8?
No, you might get in the hole. Like you might lose balance. You might do
With my numbers, single 8, I probably would have bet you get off my chest, if I fell down.
I guess. Like, okay, bro. Okay, chill.
That's not me saying that's not me saying I'm strong. It just says that like I'm a bench specialist. That's all it says.
Right?
No, I mean, honestly, for me, like I think doing the conjugate, like fucking having to max out all the time, like a single at 8 is.
I'm not afraid. I'll take singles.
Kind of a
by
joke.
myself
It's
in the firehouse basement. There'll be nobody there to spot me.
I don't even have like I'm doing
with
it.
Suicide grip.
Like I'm doing it in I'm doing it in a combo rack. I don't even have the safeties up. I have full confidence that I'm completing
Yeah, I
this
know.
rep.
I know
It's
I'm
not
doing.
that I don't have a doubt in my mind that this is not going to come up.
Do it in your basement. Tell me.
I have taken.
Hit a heavy single in your basement.
I have.
with no safeties.
I have.
My first.
Let me see. Where's the video? We get deleted?
How convenient. Where's my tinfoil hat at?
No, I think it. Honestly, though,
Did you get the vaccine?
No, there's 100% there's psychological factors that play a role into your performance, though, right? Yeah. So, I have squatted heavy singles down there by myself, and it's more nerve-wracking than when I'm in the gym. But that doesn't stop me from doing it.
Yeah.
You know what bothers me? When people are staring at me. That's the fuck bothers me. We make attempts. You know those moments. You know those moments in the gym. You're like getting ready to lift, and all of a sudden, like it's not people watching. It's like the people who you know hate you.
They turn
watching
around.
you, just like that.
You know what it is though? If somebody does it to me, I don't know why, but it gives me like at least 10 pounds more in my leg.
I'm not nervous about it. It just distracts me. I'm like, oh look, and you feel the petty energy. You feel the petty eyes looking in your direction. Like what is going on right now?
No, bro.
Hi, hater.
I don't want the pettiness, bro. I feed off of it, bro.
We can tell. He's like, when motherfuckers are staring at me, I can put 10 kilos on.
You know what? You know how it feels like?
Ylli's like, bro, what the fuck?
It was
Put 10
on
kilos
Q6.
You know what it feels? It almost feels like you're on a meet day and you have the people watching.
You need haters?
And they're waiting.
I win. What the
I need them. I beg.
Honestly,
people
I
to
thought about the
hate
heat as
on
well,
me.
just in certain context. If it's like, if it's like legit somebody who I don't like, like I'll do better because of it. But if it's somebody who I have like, who I like, but I know they have those petty feelings, that just distracts me. Like really, bro? Like, it's weird.
I'm like, fuck you too, bro. Fuck you and fuck you too.
No, I don't know, man. I mean,
I'm gonna lift that weight.
I don't know. But anyway, the weight itself has never scared me. I'll fucking fail, whatever. I don't give two shits. So I'll rebound for it. But speaking about things, I guess like exposures, I found if I have a bench press single or like an attempt where I end up failing it, that shit holds me back. And I can go for like
I
RP10s.
literally saw the cat drop it.
And I can go RP10s till the cows come home. But once I fail a single bench attempt and whatnot, it'll shut my shit down.
Yeah.
For like weeks, it's weeks.
Do you think that's like more so to like the demoralizing fucking
I don't know if it's demoralizing
situation, or is it? You
burnout?
think it's like fatigue?
I think it's burnout.
Do you
to be
think?
honest.
If you're in a
My
situation
shoulders.
where you fail a bench rep, you're probably fucking
you know why?
fatigued anyways.
Well, I guess so, but also it's because of what happens as you fail it. So as you fail it, where are you putting the emphasis? It's all over in your shoulders, correct?
Well,
and
also-
you're grinding and you're going side to side. and-
also eccentric. You're technically doing a super maximal eccentric.
Yes.
Which is going to put a ton of fucking peripheral fatigue.
Yeah.
It's going to result in a ton of peripheral fatigue.
so many different things. But I guess that concludes
But that's
this
it.
episode.
Bestar wants to go home now.
He's telling us to get the fuck out of here.
But this is getting mad behind the scenes.
We've barely mentioned
He's been clapping that
peaking or
shit.
tapering. It's fine. A little
We
bit.
talk about it
No,
in
we
the
actually
beginning.
did.
Well, I thought we were gonna
I thought we were gonna, like,
about like